It's okay. It's okay. You're safe now. She'll be okay, Arthur.
I'm sure she will, Mary Beth.
Keep warm. All of you. Keep warm. Just a few more days, and we'll get off this hill.
I hope so.
Stay strong.
It's been a nasty few days.
I know. And we've had tough times before. We keep moving, and we keep together. Same as always. All of you. Ain't that so, Mr. Morgan?
Of course.
He that is so impoverished that he hath no oblation chooseth the tree that will not rot. He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundation of the earth?
Damn it, Bill.
They'll come looking for me, you know.
Well, maybe they'll come looking for those O'Driscoll boys we killed at that ranch down the way.
Who was that? Declan? Fat Tommy?
We didn't get as far as introductions.
Oh, God.
Sorry, partner. Back at it, boy. Yeah. Don't fail me now, boy.